What's going on, guys? Firewolf Tech here, showing you guys the INNOCN 34Q1R OLED gaming monitor. This monitor features a beautiful 34-inch ultra-wide QD OLED panel with a 3440 by 1440 resolution, 175Hz refresh rate, and a fast 0.03 millisecond response time. There's also a nice and subtle 1800R curvature for a better immersive gaming experience and adaptive sync technology to prevent screen tearing. There are two features that stand out on this monitor that I haven't seen on other ultra-wide OLED monitors, and that is an integrated soundbar that actually doesn't suck and a 15-watt wireless charging pad on the base of the monitor, which are some pretty cool features. The price for this OLED gaming monitor is $799, which is a great price if you're looking for a cost-effective 34-inch QD OLED gaming monitor that gives you a lot of features. I'll be showcasing PC gaming, PS5 gameplay, MacBook connectivity, and a full unboxing, so stay tuned. Huge thanks to INNOCN for sending me this monitor to review for you guys and sponsoring this video. My first impressions when turning on this OLED monitor was how fire the display looks. OLED gives you amazing blacks, incredible contrast, and in my opinion is a huge upgrade over IPS or VA monitors. Looking at the input selection of the INNOCN 34Q1R, we have DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.0 ports, which has a 100Hz limit, and a 65-watt USB-C DisplayPort, which I love to see, one USB 3.0 upstream port with two USB-A ports, and finally a 3.5mm audio jack. While I'm not happy about the lower HDMI 2.0 ports, they make up for it by including that USB-C port, which makes it easier to connect your laptop or MacBook. This monitor gives you a lot of ways to connect your devices and peripherals, which is great. Since this has a QD OLED panel, you get a nice glossy display which will look amazing in darker settings. This also means you have the same anti-reflective coating that other QD OLED monitors have, which does help reduce glare, but not as effective as matte coating since you can see some of the reflections. I'll cover more on that later. With a screen size of 34 inches and a 3440 by 1440 resolution, you get a pixel density of about 109 pixels per inch, which is higher than a 32-inch 1440p monitor at 91 pixels per inch. You also get a wider aspect ratio of 21:9, which makes multitasking easier and more productive. Before we get to the fun stuff, let's unbox the INNOCN QD OLED monitor. Really excited to see how this looks. Alright, first thing we're going to notice is going to be the base, and the biggest standout feature here is you're going to see this little bolt here letting you know that this has a wireless charging pad. So I'm really excited to see how this feature works. And we can see right here we have a wingtip screw, making it very easy to install without using tools. All right, next we have the arm portion of the stand. You can see it feels really nice and sturdy, has a nice weight to it. And it has a really nice black color. This looks like it's a cable management over here. And it looks like we have an integrated headphone stand, which is really nice. Further inside the box for cables, they're going to give you a nice DisplayPort cable. We're going to have an HDMI cable, a USB 3.0 upstream cable that gets connected to your computer, and finally a USB-C cable. So far they have a great selection of cables that's included. All right, next we have is the US plug, and it looks like there's no separate power adapters. That's going to be built into the monitor itself. They also give us 4 standoff screws here, most likely to have it wall mounted or mounted on a monitor arm. Next thing they're going to include is a color calibration factory report, which is really great, letting you know this monitor has been color calibrated, which is really awesome. And finally, we have a quick installation guide. All right, let's go ahead and see the monitor here. All right, here we have the back of the monitor here, and what I do like is that they include a plastic film protecting the screen to prevent it from scratches, so I do like to see that a lot. Now let's go ahead and install the stand while we have it here. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the monitor arm portion, and we're going to just basically line it up. You can also use a VESA mount adapter as well, using the standoff screw. It's going to be 100 by 100. You know, there's little 4 pins here, and that's going to connect to this portion right here, probably for some RGB function. You're gonna hear a nice click. All right, finally we're gonna grab the base and we're gonna connect it here. Now I did mention the 4 pins earlier, and I just remembered this is gonna be for the wireless charging, which obviously is gonna be here. This is gonna provide the necessary power for that. So all we have to do here is match it and use this wingtip screw and screw it in place. Okay, you wanna make sure this is nice and tight, and now we're ready for liftoff. All right, while I have you guys on a bird's eye view, you can notice a nice 1800R curvature. That's very nice and subtle. The design of this monitor looks nice and simple with an awesome black color scheme. There's a lot of ventilation on the top to keep things cool, and you also have RGB lighting on the back, which looks fire. I like how the RGB lights are these small line strips following the lines of the monitor. The arm portion of the stand also has an integrated headphone stand, so you can save some space. Talking about space, the stand does push out the monitor by a lot, so if you have a narrow desk, I recommend looking into a monitor arm. The stand features a good amount of height adjustments, tilt, and a huge swivel range. It's sturdy and stable, and an integrated wireless charging pad works great on my iPhone 15 Pro. The only thing I don't like is how far out the base sticks out, which is about 12 inches. I wish the base was pushed back further to at least right underneath the display. Keep in mind, if you go the monitor arm route, you would lose the wireless charging pad feature. Now let's test out the gaming performance of the 34Q1R using my gaming PC equipped with an RTX 4080 Super and an AMD 7900X, which I have my full build down below. Stay tuned because I'll also showcase PS5 gameplay. Loading up Modern Warfare 3 has been a great experience thanks to the super low 0.03 millisecond response time and a 175Hz refresh rate. I would have preferred 240Hz, but 175 is still fast. Sadly, there's no NVIDIA G-Sync or AMD FreeSync, but the built-in Adaptive Sync works great and I was able to enable G-Sync on this monitor. You just need to make sure you turn on Adaptive Sync in the settings of the monitor. Fast action-packed matches have been buttery smooth. I have the graphics set to Ultra and enabling DLAA and frame generation, which gives me enough frames and visual fidelity to take full advantage of this monitor. Since this monitor has about 30% more pixels than a standard 1440p monitor, most GPUs should be able to handle the graphical load versus a more demanding 4K monitor. There are several color profiles you can enable to enhance your gaming experience in the settings menu. You can also add a crosshair and change the black levels with shadow boost so you can identify enemies in the dark. But for the best experience, enabling HDR looks even better. The monitor doesn't have an auto HDR switch, so you'll also have to enable HDR in the monitor settings. Once calibrating the HDR brightness and adjusting the contrast to 70% on NVIDIA control panel, colors looked amazing on this display. Now let's talk about the speakers on this monitor. Usually the sound quality of most monitors are horrible, but surprisingly the sound quality on the soundbar style speakers actually sound good. They won't outperform dedicated PC speakers in the $100 plus territory, but they sound and perform just as well as PC soundbars in the $50 range. It features a 2.1 channel stereo surround speaker system and an array microphone giving you a great sound experience. While the soundbar follows the 1800R curvature, which looks nice, it could also look a little awkward having that soundbar right under the display, and you won't be able to remove it if you choose to have external speakers. It's both a pro and a con since this monitor will look great if you don't have a lot of space. Forza 5 looks beautiful on this monitor, and QD OLED really makes games look amazing, and if you're switching to OLED from an IPS or VA monitor, you will notice an immediate difference. Taking a break from gaming, the INNOCN 34Q1R has a QD OLED panel that features deep and creamy blacks. I always say once you go OLED, there's just no going back. Colors look great on this monitor as well with a 100% sRGB gamut coverage and a factory pre-calibrated color test to ensure better accuracy. There's many color presets that you could find that works best for you. Brightness levels on this monitor is great for an OLED monitor, and I'm really glad that these monitors are coming with brighter OLED displays because it really improves the overall experience. This QD OLED panel has a glossy display with an anti-reflective coating, which some of you guys would prefer over a matte display. Now this being QD OLED, you might notice a slight purple/grayish tint with direct light sources. This is not an issue from INNOCN, it's just that every QD OLED monitor has this effect at the moment. If you play in a dark room or have controlled lighting, it won't be an issue at all. The anti-reflective coating does a good job of deflecting light, and having a glossier display means you'll have amazing clarity. Testing out the PS5 on this monitor will output 2560 by 1440 with the image being stretched to fit the full 34-inch display. In my opinion, it doesn't look that bad since the screen isn't too wide. Unfortunately, you won't be able to switch the aspect ratio in the monitor settings, so you'll be stuck playing with the stretched image. The good news is that this monitor will be able to support the PS5's variable refresh rate all the way up to 120Hz at the 1440p resolution. Now I know I said before that the HDMI 2.0 port has a limit of 100Hz, but that limit would only apply if the output was 3440 by 1440, so the HDMI 2.0 is enough to support 120Hz in either 1080p or 1440p. Since this monitor has a built-in speaker, there's no need to rely on external speakers, which is great. HDR gaming looks awesome on this QD OLED, and it's nice knowing you can game with your console or gaming PC. Another great feature of this monitor is the USB-C port that supports DisplayPort, so you can connect your MacBook or laptop with just one cable. It supports power delivery up to 65 watts, which should be enough to charge most laptops. Connecting my M3 MacBook Pro with just USB-C gives me the full 3440 by 1440 resolution at the max refresh rate of 175 Hz, and it's great knowing how easy and simple the setup is. Another amazing feature is the built-in KVM switch, which allows my keyboard and mouse to automatically connect to my MacBook Pro using the monitor's USB hub. This is a super convenient feature to have. macOS looks awesome on the display, and here's a fun fact: if you have a smartphone that supports USB-C DisplayPort like my iPhone 15 Pro, I can use a single USB-C cable to both charge my iPhone and have it connected to the monitor. What's even crazier is that the keyboard will also work on my iPhone, which is fire. To access the menu on this monitor, there's a 4-directional joystick on the bottom right. It was a little tricky and confusing at first, since pressing the joystick will power off and on the monitor. Instead, to bring up the menu, you go to the right, which also acts as a selector in the menu. The left direction will go back, and you would use the up and down to scroll through the menus to make changes. It takes a while to get used to, but once you do, there are many options you can change. Game settings lets you choose different color profiles, enable adaptive sync, shadow balance, add a refresh counter, add crosshairs, and enable HDR. Picture settings lets you further adjust brightness, contrast, and enable low blue light filters. Color settings lets you adjust the temperature of the display, and PIP/PBP lets you customize split screen options. Now, it's important to note that if you enable HDR, you won't be able to adjust anything, so keep that in mind. Under other settings, you can change things like the KVM switch, upgrade the firmware, and enable the wireless charging pad. I didn't see any options for OLED pixel or image cleaning, which I found a little odd, and hope they add these features in a future update. Using this 34-inch QD OLED ultra-wide monitor has been a great productive powerhouse. A 21:9 aspect ratio is one of my favorite form factors for day-to-day use. I can easily have 3 windows split evenly, and it still looks amazing. Creating and editing videos on DaVinci Resolve is also a great experience, since you have a wider view of the timeline. The 1800R curvature helps keep everything in your field of view, and it's not too aggressive. I still would prefer a higher resolution for creative work, but this does the job, and it helps that the display is OLED, showing you amazing colors and contrast. So is the INNOCN 34Q1R worth the price tag of almost $800? For an ultra-wide QD OLED monitor that is attractively priced, in my opinion, is worth it if you don't want to spend close to $1,000 or more for other OLED monitors. 175 Hz is still plenty fast, and the gaming experience with QD OLED has been amazing. I love that this has many versatile inputs, especially the USB-C input, which also charges your devices. The integrated soundbar adds even more value if you're someone who doesn't already have external speakers, or if you want to keep things as minimal as possible. While the wireless charging pad is a cool feature, I would have preferred they made the stand take up less vertical space, but it's still useful for less cable clutter. This QD OLED display is fire, and if you're someone with an IPS or VA panel, you will love the switch. If you are interested in getting this monitor or the many tech that you've seen in this video, I will have affiliate links down below, which also helps and support the Firewolf Tech channel. Or you can search INNOCN 34Q1R on Amazon to find the best price for this amazing monitor right now. Even though INNOCN has sent this monitor for review and sponsored this video, all opinions are my own honest review. I appreciate INNOCN for choosing me to showcase this brand new monitor. I also want to thank you for sticking to the end of this video, and would love to know your thoughts and feedbacks in the comments down below. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I would love your support with a like, share, and subscribe. Firewolf out.